Is Ibrahim Traore under threat? Ibrahim Traore gave a bold speech that could stir up serious trouble. He exposed both the internal and external forces working to undermine Burkina Faso. However, he's not caught off guard, he's already ahead of them, aware of their schemes and prepared with his plans. The real question, though, is whether he can fully eliminate these puppets and their influence before they silence him forever. Let's find out. Burkina Faso is no longer playing the quiet African state. It has a new captain, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, and under his leadership, the nation is taking the fight to those who have long sought to control its fate. If you're looking for another African leader who plays nice with the West, Traoré isn't that guy. His mission is one of uncompromising sovereignty, a cause for which he's made clear he's willing to die. For decades, Africa has been painted into a corner, trapped between corrupt internal systems and foreign exploitation. Now, Traoré is ripping that corner to shreds. In his recent address, Traoré laid out the struggle Burkina Faso is facing, not just against terrorism, but against the deeper imperialist grip that still suffocates African nations. His speech wasn't just a reflection of the current state of his nation. It was a declaration of war against those who refuse to let Africa rise. Traoré is confronting not only foreign meddling, but also the betrayals from within, enemies who are all too happy to sell their country for a taste of Western approval. There are many questions Traoré answered, and let's start with, are we witnessing Burkina Faso's showdown with imperialism? If there's one thing Traoré made crystal clear in his speech, it's this: Burkina Faso isn't fighting a simple battle against terrorism. No. This is a fight against a well-oiled machine of imperialism that's been running in Africa for centuries. The West has long mastered the art of control, first through colonization and now through neo-colonial manipulation, and Burkina Faso has found itself in the crosshairs. When Traoré spoke of assassination attempts, it wasn't just the act of violence that should have caught everyone's attention. It was who might be behind these attempts. We're not talking about your run-of-the-mill rebel groups here. We're talking about foreign powers who have everything to lose if Burkina Faso becomes the sovereign state that Traoré envisions. And why? Because an independent Burkina Faso means Africa won't need the West anymore, and that's a direct threat to their interests. Why is it that every time an African leader talks about sovereignty, foreign powers start scrambling? Because the West has never let go of its grip on Africa. Colonialism might have officially ended decades ago, but the same powers that carved up the continent in the 19th century are still lurking in the shadows. The so-called developed nations, those who built their wealth on the backs of African resources, have no intention of letting Africa go. And Burkina Faso's newfound push for independence under Traoré is setting off alarm bells. Here's the reality. Traoré is a disruptor, and disruptors are dangerous to those who benefit from the status quo. When he talks about sovereignty, it's not just empty rhetoric. It's a direct threat to the financial and geopolitical interests of the West. They need Burkina Faso, and by extension, Africa, to remain dependent, to keep feeding their industries and economies. But Traoré? He's not playing by those rules. What's fascinating is that this isn't just a battle for Burkina Faso's independence. It's about reclaiming Africa's future as a whole. By standing up to imperialism in all its forms, economic, military, and cultural, Traoré is showing the world that Africa is capable of leading itself. The imperialist powers, however, aren't going down without a fight. Assassination attempts, sabotage, and economic pressure are just some of the tools being used to try and crush this new wave of African independence before it gains momentum. And yet, here we are. Traoré is still standing, still fighting, and for him, this isn't just about personal survival. It's about ensuring that Burkina Faso survives as a truly independent nation, free from the influence of foreign puppeteers. So, according to Traoré, Burkina Faso's fight isn't just about defeating terrorists. It's about dismantling the entire imperialist system that has kept Africa in chains for centuries. And that's why the West is so terrified of Captain Ibrahim Traoré. While foreign powers might be the biggest external threat, Traoré knows better than to think the battle is only being fought outside his borders. The real betrayal? That's coming from within. So, Are Burkina Faso's greatest traitors sitting at home? Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. Let's cut through the niceties. Burkina Faso's biggest enemies aren't just foreign powers, they're homegrown. When Traoré talks about internal sabotage, he's referring to the traitors within his government and military who are actively working to undermine everything he's trying to achieve. These aren't just people who disagree with his policies. These are individuals who have sold their souls to the highest bidder, often foreign interests who see a destabilized Burkina Faso as their golden opportunity. Traoré's words weren't veiled threats. They were a promise. There will be consequences. The days of gently warning people to stay in line are over. Traoré's speech was a line in the sand. Betray Burkina Faso, and you will face the full force of the state. And frankly, why shouldn't he be this severe? Traoré isn't dealing with political disagreements, he's dealing with treason. These aren't just small-time actors pulling strings for a bit of local power. They are part of a larger network of internal and external collusion that has historically allowed Western nations to exert control over African countries. Think about it. Who benefits from an unstable Burkina Faso? Not Traoré, not the people of Burkina Faso, and certainly not Africa at large. But the corrupt elites? They thrive in instability because it allows them to maintain their status and wealth, often at the expense of their nation. What makes Traoré different from many other African leaders is that he's not afraid to call it what it is: betrayal. He doesn't mince words, and he's not about to play the game of diplomacy with people who would sell out their own country. Traoré knows that if he's going to win the battle for Burkina Faso's sovereignty, he has to clean house first. The betrayal isn't just a matter of greed, it's an issue of national security. Every move that these traitors make is a move that weakens Burkina Faso from the inside. Traoré is no fool. He knows that Burkina Faso can't withstand external threats if it's being stabbed in the back by its people. That's why his stance is so clear. You're either with Burkina Faso or you're against it. And if you're against it, don't expect mercy. Traoré has already extended multiple olive branches to those who were on the fence. But now, he's done playing nice. He's given them time to switch sides, to choose Burkina Faso over personal gain, and to embrace the fight for true independence. The fact that some have refused to do so only confirms their complicity in the larger web of neo-colonial manipulation that has plagued Africa for decades. For Traoré, there is no greater sin than betraying your people for the sake of foreign powers. He's made it clear that the time for warnings is over. Those who continue to act against the state will be held accountable. And in Traoré's Burkina Faso, accountability means severe consequences, not for the sake of punishment, but for the sake of survival. While internal betrayal is a massive hurdle, Traoré's fight is also deeply personal, especially when it comes to certain regions that have borne the brunt of terrorist attacks. Barcelo is more than just a town in the heart of Burkina Faso, it's the heart of Traoré's battle for his nation's survival. In 2022, Traoré risked his life, defying direct orders, to ensure that Barcelo didn't fall into terrorist hands. This wasn't a calculated political move. It was a raw act of patriotism, a moment that showed exactly what kind of leader Traoré is. One who doesn't just lead from the back, but one who fights on the front lines alongside his soldiers. But why does Barcelo matter so much to Traoré? Because it's a symbol of everything Burkina Faso is fighting for. Not just physical territory, but dignity, sovereignty, and survival. When terrorists target towns like Barcelo, they're not just attacking a few hundred people. They're trying to dismantle the very fabric of Burkina Faso, to show the world that this nation can't protect its own. But Traoré refuses to let that happen. Here's where Traoré's leadership takes on a different dimension. Most leaders in his position would have stayed in the capital, sending orders from the safety of their presidential palace. But Traoré, he's in the trenches. His involvement in Barcelo's defense wasn't just a one-off heroic moment. It was a statement to the world that Burkina Faso is not for sale. It's a message to both terrorists and their foreign backers that this nation will not fall without a fight. And make no mistake, there are foreign backers involved in these terrorist activities. Traoré hinted at it in his speech. external forces with deep pockets who have every reason to see Burkina Faso destabilized. The terror groups wreaking havoc across the country aren't acting on their own accord. They are pawns in a much larger game, a game controlled by those who want to see African nations remain weak and dependent. But what's different about Traoré is that he sees through the game. He knows that these attacks are just one part of a broader strategy to keep Burkina Faso from achieving true sovereignty. And he's fighting back, not just with words, but with action. His defense of Barcelo is a microcosm of his larger strategy. Defend every inch of Burkina Faso, physically and ideologically. Traoré's connection to Barcelo also reveals something deeper about his leadership. He's not in this for power. He's not sitting comfortably in his office while his soldiers do the dirty work. He's on the front lines because he genuinely believes that Burkina Faso's survival is worth risking everything for. And that's a rare quality in today's world leaders, especially in Africa, where so many are content to let their nations be slowly eroded by foreign powers. And what did he face in return? The assassination attempts. They're not just random acts of violence. They're direct responses to his refusal to play by the rules of the game. Barcelo was targeted because it was personal for Traoré, and by going after it, his enemies hoped to weaken his resolve. But if anything, it's only made him more determined to see his mission through. It's one thing to fight a physical battle for sovereignty, but what happens when the enemy is the global economic system itself? Traoré's vision for Burkina Faso goes far beyond reclaiming territory. It's about reclaiming economic independence from the very powers that have kept Africa impoverished for centuries. Let's not mince words here. Western economic interests have been bleeding Africa dry for generations. The so-called aid that's poured into the continent, it's a joke, a way to keep African nations dependent on foreign powers while their resources are quietly siphoned off. But Traoré? He's not interested in playing along with that charade. When Traoré talks about economic sovereignty, he's talking about breaking free from the chains of Western financial institutions that have enslaved Africa through debt, exploitation, and manipulation. For decades, African nations have been forced into deals that strip them of their resources while offering little in return. Traoré has made it clear that those days are over, at least for Burkina Faso. Here's the thing. Traoré is taking on the entire global economic order. His refusal to bow to foreign investors and his rejection of corrupt international deals aren't just bold moves, they're a direct challenge to the way the world has operated for far too long. The West relies on African nations being too poor, too weak, and too divided to fight back. But Traoré is showing them that this strategy won't work anymore. And it's not just about refusing foreign aid. Traoré is actively rebuilding Burkina Faso's economy from the inside out. He's prioritizing local industries, cutting out the middlemen, and making sure that the wealth generated from Burkina Faso's resources stays where it belongs, in Burkina Faso. This isn't just about economics, it's about dignity. It's about showing the world that Burkina Faso, and Africa as a whole, can thrive on its terms, without the need for Western interference. But here's the kicker. Traoré's economic nationalism is contagious. Other African nations are watching closely, and if Traoré succeeds, we could see a wave of similar movements across the continent. This is exactly what the West fears. A united, economically independent Africa that no longer needs to rely on their handouts or their exploitative trade deals. Make no mistake, the economic battle Traoré is waging is just as crucial as the military one. Because without economic independence, Burkina Faso and Africa will never truly be free. And Traoré knows this. That's why he's focusing so heavily on building a self-sufficient economy, one that can stand on its own without being propped up by foreign aid or loans. But let's be real, Traoré is walking a very thin line. His vision for Burkina Faso is daring and shakes the very foundations of Western dominance in Africa. And if there's anything history has taught us, it's that when African leaders start to challenge the status quo, the West has a brutal way of reminding them who's really in charge. Remember Patrice Lumumba? He wanted Congo's resources to benefit his people, not foreign corporations. Assassinated. Think of Thomas Sankara, Burkina Faso's hero, who spoke fiercely about African self-reliance.
Il savait qu'il courait à tout moment des risques, il le savait. Il le savait. Il savait qu'il y avait des détracteurs de ce qui se faisait.
Taken out in a coup, murdered by those who were puppets of external interests. Then there's Muammar Gaddafi, who dared to dream of a unified, independent Africa with its currency, free from Western financial control. He was bombed out of existence. So, can Traoré succeed? Or is he just another name on the list of African leaders who dared to dream too big, too free? Traoré's vision is more than just talk. He's making real moves to free Burkina Faso from Western control. He's not just looking at economic sovereignty, he's pushing for military independence, cultural revival, and political self-determination. He's rejecting aid with strings attached, turning down Western financial assistance that comes with more debt than benefit, and nationalizing resources to ensure that the profits stay in Africa. This is dangerous territory. The West has a long history of sabotaging leaders who want to break free from their grip. If Traoré follows through on his plans, he's not just threatening Burkina Faso's colonial chains, he's lighting a fire across the continent. If Burkina Faso succeeds, it sends a message to Ghana, Zimbabwe, Mali, and all of Africa. You can say no to the West and survive. But here's the ugly truth. The West won't let that happen easily, and they have the playbook to stop it. Economic sanctions, coup attempts, propaganda wars, and yes, assassinations. Traoré is playing a dangerous game, and the stakes are life and death, not just for him, but for Burkina Faso's future. You might ask, why would Traoré succeed where others failed? The answer lies in the timing and Traoré's growing alliances. First, Africa isn't the same place it was in the 1980s when Sankara was murdered. Countries like Mali, Niger, and Guinea are starting to wake up. They're tired of being held hostage by France and the US. Traoré isn't standing alone, he's part of a wave of African leaders who are challenging the old order. Traoré's relationship with BRICS nations also sets him apart. Unlike Sankara, who stood almost entirely on his own, Traoré is building ties with countries like Russia and China, who are eager to see a more multipolar world where Western hegemony doesn't dominate. These relationships offer Traoré a layer of protection. China's growing presence in Africa through infrastructure and trade deals makes it harder for the West to intervene militarily without risking a larger geopolitical fallout. But let's not sugarcoat it. The West will still come for him. But the world is different now. Africa is no longer a playground for unchecked Western interference, and Traoré knows how to navigate that landscape better than his predecessors. As dangerous as foreign powers are, the real threat to Traoré might come from within. Every time an African leader with bold ideas rises, they're betrayed by their own. It happened with Sankara, whose own brother-in-arms, Blaise Compaoré, sold him out. It happened with Lumumba, who was betrayed by the Congolese military. Gaddafi? Brought down with the help of Libyan rebels who thought NATO was offering them freedom when it was only delivering chaos. Traoré has to worry about the same internal forces that have always plagued African revolution traitors within his government. Military officials with foreign loyalties, and local elites who benefit from keeping Burkina Faso in chains. These people are the conduits through which foreign powers orchestrate their coups and assassinations. And make no mistake, they will try. Traoré's defiance is a direct challenge to their power. Here's the thing. Traoré has to play a smarter game than any African leader before him. He knows the West is watching, waiting for him to slip. But Traoré isn't naive. He's consolidating his power within Burkina Faso, rooting out traitors, and working tirelessly to build alliances that can stand the test of time. His focus on strengthening the military, building a self-reliant economy, and nurturing regional partnerships is crucial. If Traoré can survive the next 5 years, he might just make history. But he'll need more than just vision. He'll need military strength, popular support, and the kind of cunning that outmaneuvers the forces plotting against him. Let's be real. Assassination is always on the table when you're an African leader challenging Western dominance. But this time, it feels different. Traoré is part of a bigger movement, one that stretches beyond Burkina Faso's borders. Africa is waking up, and leaders like Traoré are helping to shape a new narrative where African countries no longer need to bow to the West. If Traoré can continue to strengthen his internal power base, build alliances that matter, and avoid the traps of internal betrayal, then yes, he stands a chance. But history isn't on his side. We've seen this story before, and it doesn't usually end well for the leader in the spotlight. But Traoré is aware of that. He knows the stakes, and he's not backing down. And perhaps, just perhaps, this time Africa will protect one of its own before the same old imperial playbook snuffs out another promising leader. Whether Traoré survives or not, his fight is just beginning, and it's a fight that every African nation has a stake in. Because if Burkina Faso can break free, others will follow. And that terrifies the West more than anything else. Do you think Traoré will achieve all the goals that he has set for a better Africa? Can anyone stop him? Will the locals be allowed to be controlled by the West? Let us know in the comment section. Do you think Burkina Faso has finally gained independence? Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If so, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: the Black culture, civilization, history, and evidence about how glorious Blacks have been. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.